welcome to the Thunderdome. This is amazing. So I'm here to talk about two of maybe the most overhyped and used words of 2017, AI and influencers. And I'm here to hopefully demystify it for you and show you some really cool tech. So I'm Ryan. I am the CEO and founder of Influential. We are an AI influencer technology, I know those buzzwords, that match brands and influencers through transparent data and machine learning across Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook, and YouTube. Now, all that sounds amazing and cool and really technical, but it all started very humble and organic beginnings. So 6 years ago, I was an influencer first. I had 30 million followers on Twitter and Instagram. I don't sing or dance. I'm not famous. I have no talent. I built what are called niche accounts. So for example, we own @travel, @automotive, @fashion and style, @USA. These verticalized accounts, much like the .coms back in the 2000s, try to find ways to monetize them. So with travel, I went to Marriott and said, hey Marriott, you guys want to hit travelers. I have travel, it's got a few million followers, let's find a way to work together. They said, great. We Google searched, this is 6 years ago, we Google searched and found 10 influencers we want to activate. Can you do it for us? We don't know what to do. I had no idea what I was doing. I said, sure, I'm happy to help. Put together a campaign and ran a 6-figure campaign for Marriott and realized without technology, without data, to be able to control brand safety, what are the influencers going to say, without validating the actual delivery of the media itself, you run into some pretty massive hiccups and hurdles that could affect your campaign. So that was the nascent version of how we built our technology, an enterprise dashboard for brands and agencies, and a mobile app for influencers to be able to connect the two together like never before. Now, there are over 2 billion daily active users across all social platforms, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, and YouTube. Take a second to realize how big that is. That is 3 times the World Cup audience every day, all day. Now, how do you find those people to target with your brand or your product? How do you find that giant swath of people down to a micro segment that you can actually deliver and either sales or branding, whatever it ends up being? The answer is AI. So hopefully you guys know Bad Luck Brian is a meme from back in the 2000s. So Brian has no luck in life. Creates artificial intelligence, Skynet. For those of you that watch the Terminator franchise, that is what kills all of humanity. It's Skynet. So that's not what I'm talking about when I talk about AI. And AI has been mystified as some sort of silver bullet, as something that will just save the world or change the world or destroy the world. But when we talk about AI, it's augmented intelligence. It's human perception plus machine learning equals the best possible results. To find your best influencers, you want to look for things demographically, contextually, psychographically, to target the best possible individuals to speak on your behalf. For us, we use what's called NLP, natural language processing. Looks at the last 22,000 words spoken by a brand and an influencer and basically tries to find a match and says, is this individual have a certain personality? Are they adventurous? Are they hedonistic? Are they altruistic? If you could find the way to match that influencer with that brand, you have a better chance of virality. And the whole point of all of this is to create earned media, and the earned media effect as opposed to a paid media effect that's a banner ad or something that's very static.
Influential with IBM Watson. Watson analyzes psychographic and contextual relevancy in real time. Automatically find your audience profile and personality on social. Generating influencers. Choose the parameters that matter most to you. Watson identifies the most talked about keywords and conversations about your brand. You can even choose the gender, age, personality, and ethnicity of your influencer.
So that was the obligatory British accent or voice on top of any demo. So we have partnered with Watson. For those of you who don't know IBM Watson, it's a $4 billion cognitive machine that helps you essentially take a large swath of data and make them actionable. So this is our technology. Now, other people in the space have basically tried to stop what is the old talent model, the MCN model, the major talent agencies. They've been trying to figure out, how do I not just go after a roster of talent, but use all of this available data to find the best possible match? Now, you saw a real-time version of how you select influencers based on demographics, contextual, and psychographics. But for those of you here, I don't know, any brand marketers in here? Anyone raise their hand, brand marketers? I've got a few in here. So you know this more than anyone. You never want to get fired for doing an influencer campaign, and it's happened before. Literally fired out of your job because you haven't vetted the influencers properly. And there's so many different data points you have to worry about. If you don't have AI and technology to do it, you won't be able to actually solve the problem. So for example, our platform, other platforms have something similar, but our platform I think is a little better. You're actually able to figure out, has someone mentioned your brand organically? Are you talking about Gatorade already if you're looking to do an activation with something like that? Like speaking about their direct competitors. We're like the NSA for influencers. If they've ever spoken about anything in the history of time on social, we know about it. Have they ever used profanity? We actually do MPAA ratings, G, PG, R, etc. We even check for DUIs and felonies. Now, for those of you that are in the car or automotive space, you realize that if you pick someone that had we call it a DUI in America, and a DUI, then you basically are fired. You can't have someone that could be a potential brand ambassador that also is drinking and driving. All of this is provided back to you guys in a one-stop shop so that you can make an actionable decision from a human, but brought to you by technology. So you don't know where to go unless you know where you've been. So the strategy can also be driven by data and AI. So for example, a Nike, we can look at the psychographic map, the demographic learnings of a brand, and help that inform a campaign, as opposed to just hoping that an influencer will say the right thing. So for example, we're talking to Nike ourselves, and we looked at their psychographic map, and they were highly assertive, high levels of challenge, and self-efficacy. This is based on the Big 5 Theory. The Big 5 Theory says that a human being or brand is comprised of 52 key traits or attributes: self-efficacy, adventurousness, hedonism, etc. Now, this is the just do it type company. This is actually a great map. They're doing a perfect job on social to showcase their just do it logo. Also, demographically, they're also doing a really great job hitting their audience. But what they don't know is the deeper dive that you can only learn from looking through every single consumer that follows at Nike and has spoken about Nike at some point on social. So for example, if I'm running a campaign, I know my best influencer, but what should they be speaking about? Probably about one of the sports topics that's most prevalent, so football or baseball. Now, everyone assumes that probably sneakerheads love sneaker news, but they didn't know that college humor was a huge opportunity for them as well. If they ever want to do a rollout for Mark Cuban or Rick Ross, the boss, for a new shoe line, actually have a very high above the baseline, above the average of what the usual people have an affinity for on these social platforms. This they loved. Imagine you have to allocate hundreds of millions of dollars to pop-ups at retailers across the US or across the world. Champs and Dick's Sporting Goods, which one do you pick? You now have a 27 versus an 18 times above baseline. I'm going to go for the higher above baseline and probably have a better response from the audience that cares about Nike. Also, what event should I go to? The Masters, the World Series, Super Bowl. Where should I spend my dollars when I'm doing an integrated marketing campaign with influencers and traditional media? And which, should I align with BET? Should I align with ABC? All of this is being provided back as a first look at the existing brand health before you go into actual delivering a campaign. This is really cool. So I'm about to show you a video in a second. We did a groundbreaking campaign with Toyota. It's for the RAV4. It sounds kind of weird, but we looked at the breakout of Toyota on social and found out they have a huge above baseline for the Blue Man Group. For those of you, it's like that crazy blue group that loves paint in Las Vegas. And also for North Face, which is an adventurous, outdoorsy type company. Now, we can actually use AI to not only pick the influencer, the strategy, but also the content. So for example, I've been driving a Toyota for 12 years. I love that my car has the same adventurous spirit, which is tied to the psychographic learnings you can glean from the actual @ handle for Toyota. So today I decided to take my Toyota RAV4 to the limits. Let's just say I'm living in full color. The Blue Man Group reference you'll see in a second, very seriously. Let's go, #runit, which is the phrase they wanted to use.
I'm always looking for new things to do, so I partnered with Toyota to have their Raptivity machine create a new activity just for me.
It uses artificial intelligence to take my favorite activities further. I'm gonna make a masterpiece with body paint. But first, I gotta get there with in-tune navigation.
It's worth the wait.
Masterpiece.
So when you run a campaign, from beginning to end, you use data. Without data, you're going to have a number of problems, whether it's connecting properly with the brand, finding a way to create those micro segments. That micro segment of like the millennial, outdoorsy, artistic person is actually a micro segment that exists with Toyota. And how do they speak to that individual with the right voice, which is Rory, to deliver the best possible message at scale? So this is one of my favorite slides. This is usually like when I'm selling things to a brand, so I usually end with and walk away with a big deal. I always say, Coca-Cola, they somehow own Christmas. They bought the rights to Santa Claus. They own polar bears. And during that period of time, they are the official sports drink or the soft drink of Christmas and of the holidays. What if I'm Pepsi or someone else and I want to control share of voice during that period of time? AI in our system, but AI in general, can determine predictively and prescriptively how to actually control share of voice per Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, based on whether it's views, mentions, and just general chatter that's happening on these platforms versus your biggest competitors in a certain block of time. You can actually go conquest and take away Christmas from Coke, or if Coke wanted to block other people and know, based on benchmarking, how much people are spending on these social platforms to control and own relevance. Visual recognition. So I said it's the future, but honestly, it's here today. We have it, and there's other platforms that are starting to bring out as well on the video side. The reasoning for it isn't just generally to go look at all of the different social platforms to figure out how best to target them. It can also be based on vetting. So for example, if I want to look at certain brand logos, I showed you before when you look for vetting, without visual intelligence, you literally have to have someone scroll through, make sure they didn't have a random Coke can, if you're Pepsi, on an activation. So being able to see the logo, being able to see what is the actual surrounding area around that, that product. For a summer campaign with Coke, you want to find people that are talking about and being outside at the beach, being at a park, so they are actually in the surroundings that make sense for a summer campaign. Facial recognition, it's not just about whether or not someone is the right fit for your campaign, but are they themselves positive? Is their sentiment high when they're enjoying your product? You can actually see what is the average or baseline sentiment of someone's face based on the different data points. Are they always frowning? Are they always happy? This can inform what are the best influencers to increase your sentiment on these platforms. The last bastion that we have yet to see mastered is video, but it's coming soon. I know Watson has a product coming out soon, several other companies. If you can actually look at what is billions of hours of video to even select through hundreds of influencers, that would take more humans than there are in your company or in the world to be able to look through all the data that happens on YouTube or Twitter. That is coming. It does not exist today at regular scale, but that is the future of AI, is truly having a breakout of actual information on video. So this is a very nice quote from Ginny. IBM is one of our partners. Really, as nice as this is, the real takeaway of this entire if you take one thing away from this entire speech, is that AI, which, again, is a hot word that doesn't necessarily mean what it's supposed to mean, and influencers, which have been said over and over in the last couple of years, if you can combine the two properly and you do it right, we're seeing 30% higher lift in engagement in these campaigns. What does that mean? When you do an FTC compliant post, hashtag ad, hashtag sponsor, you usually see about a 30% dip in engagement. We're actually seeing influencers with ads, like Rory, outperform their organic content on social. That is the equivalent of watching TV and fast forwarding to the commercials. That is the future of all branded content, is finding ways so that it doesn't feel like ads. It legitimately is a way to express, to be able to hit the best possible segment to deliver for your consumer base. So if you guys have any questions for me, please hit me up on LinkedIn, Ryan Detert. I'm also happy to run some brand health audits for anyone else in the audience. Thank you so much for your time, and I appreciate it.